With are we doing the pledge, then the truth and taxation?
No, you go right in order. You just
Truth-
truth and taxation.
Truth and taxation, then we'll do the rest. Okay. All right. So we will call to order the notice of truth and taxation hearing. Chippewa County Board of Commissioners holding public meeting, obviously right now, and in that. We're looking at an operating revenue decreasing 0.42% below preceding year's operating revenue. Our millage rates for 2020 are operating 6.1500, fire and ambulance 0.4275, roads 1.0000, recycling 0.5000, senior program 0.5000, and the animal shelter 0.1000. We are now, if I'm doing this correctly, open for public comment on that, Kelly?
Yes.
Okay. Any comment on the truth and taxation rates?
Anything, Jenny, for the public?
No.
No?
Do we have any public?
Yes, I have it.
Okay.
Okay. 3? All right. So going once, going twice, third time. Truth taxation hearing is closed. Next we go to the regular board meeting, Chippewa County, and Pledge of Allegiance. If you would, sir, Mr. Shackleton.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Shackleton, if you would remind me next month that I picked on you already, so I can spread the
All right, I will do my best.
spread the happiness.
I will try.
Thank you. All right. Roll call vote? Or roll call vote? Just roll call.
Commissioner Egan. Commissioner McLean.
Here.
Commissioner Savoy.
Here.
Commissioner Shackleton.
Here.
And Chairman Markey.
Here. Okay. Next, we have additions, deletions, and agenda approval. I believe we have an addition, correct? Or not?
You have the amended agenda.
Okay, so I have the amended agenda. All right.
I'd move approval as presented.
Support. Motion and support to approve the agenda as amended. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Approval of county board minutes from May 14th.
So moved.
Support. Motion and support for approval of county board minutes from last month. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Correspondence received from clerk's office, page 9 in your packet.
I'd move that we acknowledge the correspondence received in the clerk's office and forward as appropriate.
Support. Motion and support to receive correspondence in the clerk's office and forward them to the proper authorities. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Public comment is next. We do have 3 people on Zoom for public comment. Do we need to unmute them? Or do they have their hands up? Or
I don't see any hands up. I think they can unmute themselves, can't they?
I don't know.
Hello, this is Erin Carter calling from Michigan State University Extension. I just wanted to let you guys all know that we do have some programs coming up for local government. And what I'll do is I'll have my assistant send that out to all of the commissioners so that you guys can see all the different programs that we have online for local government, so that you can see those. I just wanted to make that aware for you guys so that you realize that we still have a lot of programming going on.
Thank you. Any more discussion, public comment? Going once, going twice. I'll declare public comment closed. Next, we have administrative report, page 10. Mr. Chairman?
You'll see the health department, Omaha Hospital, Chippewa County Sheriff's Department, Public Defender, and Animal Shelter. If you have any questions on any of this, please let Kelly or I know, and that's my report, sir.
Any questions, commissioners? Okay, being none, we will move on to new business, 1920 Resolution 2020-10, imposing property tax levy. This has got to be separate from B, correct? Okay, so this
That'd be
is
a roll call.
So moved.
standalone, and with a roll call, we have motion
Support.
and support to impose the 2020 property tax levy. Because it is a resolution, roll call vote.
Commissioner McLean,
Here, or yes, excuse me.
Commissioner
Here to vote yes.
Commissioner Savoy,
Yes.
Commissioner Shackleton,
Yes.
and Chairman Martin.
Yes. All right. Next, Chippewa County EDC letter of support for the EDA grant, page 31.
Support. Motion. I move.
Support, move, and support for the EDC. Anything you want to add? Go ahead, Commissioner McLean.
I just came from a meeting of the EDC, that's why I was almost late. This is a building that we had a fire a year and a half ago, destroyed one building. Then we had one building that was, I guess, acceptable to that client, EUP Shavings from Pickford. It's a local company. They moved into that building. Right now we find ourselves at the point where we don't have a nice building to offer to any clients that would come in. And we applied through the EDA, Economic Development Administration, the federal group there. They had already done a master plan for us. And one of the things they suggested there is that we need to add a building that would be acceptable to clients coming in. So we followed all of the requirements, submitted the grant. We heard word just first part of the week that we've moved to the second phase of the grant. They're ready to approve it, but there were a couple of things that were missing, and one of them was a letter from the county, another one was a letter from the township of support, and then a couple of environmental things that they needed taken care of. You'll also see in the newspaper, I think tomorrow or the next day, that there's an ad for it's like a public comment. It explains a little bit about the project, and if people have public comment, they write them in, send them into the federal government in Chicago. So this is something that we need, and I think that it's an asset. Once it's built, it's there. It's part of the EDC, and it's something that we're really lacking now. We do have a couple of great big hangars that the sheriff actually rents one of them, and for the most part, they keep things dry and reasonably secure. But rather than put a lot of money into those at this point, the EDA is recommending that we do a new building entirely. And this is going to be, it will serve 3 clients, and we have clients that have indicated that they're interested in moving in there. One of the features, we had to move a lot of pieces in place to do this, so I'll extend this a bit. It has a rail line running into it. Okay, in order to have a rail line, we actually bought 80 acres it was an 80-acre parcel right near the rail line. We also had to negotiate with the township to sell us a little pie-shaped sliver of land so that we could run a spur in there, railroad spur. And so there's a lot of things that have been done in arriving at this point. And I think that it's a worthwhile project, otherwise we wouldn't have undertaken it. I hope this explanation is acceptable to the other commissioners, and I would urge you to vote yes.
Okay. Anything can bring in more business, especially in the economy right now. Um, Works for me. Any other comments, gentlemen? Ready for a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have Finance Management Account Report. Commissioner Savoy.
The regular meeting of Chippewa County Board of Commissioners Finance Claims and Accounts Committee was held on Thursday, June 4, 2020 at the Chippewa County Building, Sault Ste. Marie. Meeting was called to order at 4:30 p.m. Quorum was present. The meeting was also available via Zoom. Members present, Commissioners Martin, Shackleton, McLean, myself. Members absent, Commissioner Connor Egan. There are several other people present. Approval of the agenda was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Martin to approve the agenda as presented. On voice vote, the motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Was that
Yeah.
just approval of the agenda?
Oops, yeah, we didn't need
Yeah,
to
we
do
don't
that.
have to do
As
that.
I was going to say,
Okay. Public comment, none offered. Correspondence and information item, no action. Agenda items, Health Department, Community Health Policy, Family Planning. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Shackleton to approve and authorize Community Health Service Policy 15.00.031, Family Planning as presented. On a voice vote, the motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Treasurer's Annual Report of Land Sale Proceeds, moved by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner McLean to accept and approve the annual report of balance and land sale proceeds accounts as presented with the amount available to transfer to the general fund on a voice vote. The motion carried, and I would move.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Chippewa County Emergency Declaration Extension. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Shackleton to extend the Chippewa County Emergency Declaration and additional 28 days and authorize the chair to cease the declaration when appropriate. On voice vote, motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support for the emergency declaration. Any discussion? Would we be out of order here to talk to Misty or about this, or wait until comments?
Sure. It's your meeting, Mr. Chair.
All right, I just don't want to break precedent. So, Misty, first off, congratulations on the $600,000 grant for 911. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Again, we had a question in the finance meeting last week as to being able, or why we're having this emergency meeting, even though we really haven't had a case up here in 6 weeks, why we're continuing that. And we just kind of wanted to talk to the expert here about why it is a good idea to do that, or maybe rethink it. What's your take on that?
Well, and this is something that we have gone back and forth with as a region. Most of the counties are just continuing to let theirs go because we don't know what's going to happen. I think once tourism opens back up, we're all kind of nervous that it's going to come up here and that it's going to make its way up here. So we just didn't want to shut that door. And it's not, I mean, it's more of a formality, if you will, to have the emergency declaration. So we've just all been continuing to renew them until we know for sure what's going to happen. We just want to make sure that our community knows that we're, on top of it and keeping that in place. So it's, I guess for the most part, it's a formality just to have it there. But like with the tourism and all the influx of people coming up here, we're just trying to be cautious about that. I mean, all of our responders, we've been able to provide them with everything, well, not everything that they've requested, but most of the PPE that we've requested. we continue to reach out and make sure they have what they need. But as far as the declaration, we're just looking to keep it extended until we know that we're kind of in the clear. So
Is there something about FEMA and reimbursement that is easier to procure if we do have a state of emergency?
initially, that was the thought, but as this pandemic goes on, FEMA's getting more and more specific about what they're going to require. And to be completely honest, at this point, we haven't had a lot of out-of-pocket expenses. We did buy some PPE at the initial onset. I know the county has had some expenses at the courthouse, but as FEMA gets more and more into this, what they're reimbursing for is becoming less and less. So initially, when the pandemic first started, we wanted to make sure we had that declaration in place, because at that point we didn't know what was going to happen. And now we're just kind of waiting to make sure that we're in the clear. I mean, yeah, we haven't had cases, test positive for a couple months now, but with tourism opening up, and if anybody's been in St. Ignace on Sundays, they see, or Fridays for that matter, they see all the influx of people we have coming up north. So more of a precaution and a formality.
Thank you.
Because, I don't want to prolong this, and I'll probably support it this one last time, but you don't usually have a state of emergency as a precaution for something that might happen. Usually a state of emergency is a response to something that is an emergent situation right now. And we've been moved by the governor now to stage 5, which is basically defined as contained. And we're not going to get to stage 6 because that's going to be, that could be a year from now, because basically stage 6 means it's gone, we can't even find the darn thing anymore, and that may never happen in our lifetimes, who knows? We may live under stage 5 forever, I don't know. But in any case, the question becomes, well, what is the clear indicator for us to stop? When do we say, okay, we're no longer in a state of emergency? And I don't think there is one. I think we're just kind of going by, well, we don't know, let's just do it one more time. And I guess that's where we're at. When I say one more time, I mean one more extension.
And I think I would agree with you, because all of the EMs up here in the 8th district, we're all kind of on the same page, as just to let it go and make sure we're good. And I think extending it one more time will actually be sufficient, and then it'll expire. And if in the fall we have a relapse, then we'll just have to do it again, or a resurgence of the disease. So.
Fair enough. Does that answer everybody's question? So unless something drastic happens in the next 28 days, this will be it.
I think this is a situation where we have to look at it in 28 days, and I would be relying on Missy to guide us through that as to what it looks like, because she's got her finger on the pulse as to what's happening not only in Chippewa County, but also in the regions and through the state. And I know the idea of tourism coming back, we need the finance and all that and that type of thing. And we've been lucky so far. So I think that rather than saying we're just going to let it happen, let it go the next time out, I would ask Missy to come back next month and advise us further on where we should be and what we should be doing. Because the process doesn't cost us any money to extend it. And I don't think it's a terrible inconvenience to anybody. But I would rely on Missy's guidance relative to that. So I would, rather than say it's going to be gone in 28 days, I said, we'll look at it again in 28 days.
If we could have you attend maybe the finance meeting next month. And that's where we have initial vote anyhow. And unless something I said changes, I really don't see a need to extend it past what we have right now. So we'll go another 21 days and hopefully call it good unless we need it.
28 days.
You'll all know if something changes.
28 from before. Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
thank you. All right, we have motion and support, so
Yep.
vote to extend it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Finance budget amendments to the tune of just under $260,000. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Shackleton to approve the amendments for FY 2020 as presented on a voice vote. The motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support. Kelly, did you have a?
You can finish that and then I'll go.
Okay. Any discussion?
We're done.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
We missed Stone Garden.
You missed page 29.
Yeah. Top, it should say Central Dispatch, Stone Garden. Here, Bob, I'll give you one.
I don't have it. Where is it?
On the back side of your paper in your right
Okay.
hand.
Okay. Central Dispatch, 2019 Stone Garden purchases, $13,480.35. It was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Martin to authorize from the FY 2018 purchase of binoculars, night vision, infrared cameras, and mobile radio on voice vote. Motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Go ahead. I did the
Motion
last
and
one.
support. Any discussion on the Stone Garden purchase? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Administration increased CCTV tunnel, stairwells, and county basement on the, it was moved by Commissioner McLean, supported by Commissioner Martin to approve the bid from Alert Electronics in the amount of $11,350, $13,000 which reimbursement of $3,261.62 from the MA RAP grant on voice vote. The motion carried. I would so move.
Support.
Motion and support for the increase in the CCTV tunnel and stairwells. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Administration release RFQs for vehicles and roof resurfacing. It was moved by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner McLean to release the RFQs as presented on a voice vote. The motion carried. I would move.
Support.
Motion and support on the roof resurfacing and the new vehicles. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Go ahead, Commissioner Swart.
Finance claims and accounts, basically pay the bills. So moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Mark to recommend the approval of the May county bills and payroll. General fund, other fund claims, payroll, and health department claims. On voice vote, motion carried. I would so move.
I'll support that.
Motion and support to pay the bills. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
There was committee and chairman comments. We adjourned at 4:55 p.m. and I would move to accept the report as presented.
Support.
Motion and support to accept the minutes of the finance committee. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
You're getting good at that, Chairman Supplies.
Made it short.
That's what I meant.
Commissioner comments? Yes, go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
I'd just like to note that, for anybody that hasn't heard, they'll be doing COVID testing if you want to go this coming weekend at the high school. And also youth affairs will increase as of July 1st. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sir.
How was the meeting today with UPTA? Or yesterday, right? Yesterday?
It was very well. In fact, some thank yous were going around. We only had, out of the 5 votes, 4 people voted for the increase in fares, and trustee Lippens,
Carlos.
she voted against.
Okay. Now, you've put in place rules. You've got that all set up, the bylaws and everything like that relative to how the meetings are conducted.
They're getting there.
They're getting there.
And they also had a problem with, actually one of our colleagues who's not here, over how emergency services are handled when somebody's in trouble. And that will also be looked at, as well as just protocols and how they handle those situations.
I guess I appreciate that, and I appreciate the work that you put in on that, Mr. Chairman. I think that you were the catalyst to straightening out the situation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I move to adjourn.
Support? All those in favor?
I
I hate that.